Good morning, traders. How we doing out there? It's another beautiful day. It's FOMC day, and we got the big bad wolf Jerome Powell going to be coming in here and snip, cutting those rates. Yes, I definitely think so. I think we all could say that the rate cut is here. Now the question is, what are we going to get in the conversation? That's what I will be watching. I know you guys are looking forward to. We'll talk all about it. And of course, at 2 p.m., you'll get the release of the FOMC kind of release, right? That gives you an easy look into. You grab that from the Fed website. You go ahead and you throw it in your local AI, and you get your summary so you're ready at 2:30. Remember, at 2:30, he begins reading that. He literally reads it word for word and then gets into the questions. That's where the fireworks will be. Of course, though, when that press release comes out at 2 p.m., what Money Mitts tells you to look at is look really quickly at the dot plot to see where do they see rates coming down the line. Another thing you can use, of course, are your CME Fed Watch tools and things like that to take a look at what's going on with the interest rates. We'll see what happens. That's going to be the focus. So if you don't see a lot of action today, understand that this is also common in FOMC days. We'll talk about it with Michael Noss coming up, but this is a normal thing to see that it's going to be a little bit shaky today. There is some stocks that have perfect setups, so we will be looking for some trades, but like always, we need to be smart and play it right. We'll see what happens out in the market. Let's get right to it. All right, guys, so there's a couple of setups that we can talk about. We can take a look into kind of the playbook action. Let's get to it. All right, guys, let's get to the first one here. The first one I'm going to talk about is Intel. I know it's not the sexiest name, but looking to see if this can go higher. Of course, this could be finally getting out of a long-term kind of sideways action, going to fill a gap. I actually created this a little while back, was looking to see that this starts to get into the zone. So now looking for a breakout towards like 28 and 30s. And then from there, it could get higher than that. So we'll see what happens now. Intel looking really good, looking perky. Right there, we got the undercut. Now we need to take a look to see if it attempts the 25 today. Would love to see it go to like 24.70, 24.60, and then back through 25 is really kind of more that buy signal here in Intel. We'll see what happens with this one. You guys in the chat, tell me what you guys are feeling about this trade right here on Intel. Put a 1 if you're bullish Intel. Put a 2 if you're bearish Intel. Love to hear you in the chat. Go ahead and hit that like, and let's keep moving. Let's go to the next one. I want to talk all about the China trade. As I've been talking about this one, and you guys remember I was swing trading it right here and then got cut out on this day. But ever since that day, of course, what happens? Straight takeoff, guys. It's been 9% higher. You're seeing names like Baidu just absolutely rocketing. Baba continuing to rocket. And you guys remember I was talking about this trade on Baba, how pretty this looked. These are the types of trades that tell me that, yes, Mitch, you're going to be all right, guys, in swing trading in the long run. Guys, I'm going to be able to make it in this career. And there's one thing for certain. It's finding names like this that tell me, yes, the future is looking bright. So continue in the battle if you're looking for learning. This is the place to be, guys, because the truth is we talk a lot about swing trades, and swings are some of the best ways to take a long-term approach, right? Not just a one-day approach, but you can also rinse and repeat. We talked about PDD. When this was actually up here at the 827 and FXI was starting to go higher, it wasn't that higher at that point, and that's what we wanted to look at. What do we call leaders to laggards? Would it kind of pull back and then PDD gets started? We talked about JD also getting started, and now JD continuing the move and now gapping up higher through the resistance. Just goes to show us, yeah, these are names we want to watch. So now I'm calling the China auto momentum to come back in. NIO was just trying to make another breakout, and look at that, starting to lead. Nice little bull flag. We talked about this name, how it pulled back, and it could start making a move off the $6 spot. Well, there it goes. NIO starting to make the lift. So we can take a look at other names like, let's say, XPEV today. Why not that one get the long, right? Just recovered the 9 EMA, could make an attempt at 2150s, maybe even 21 today. But this looks like it wants to go back to 24 and 25. So we'll see what happens with these China autos. You can also take a look at LI and see how it's starting to push. This is exactly what you want to see from all these auto names. LI, definitely a bet that I like off of the 25 spot. It gapped up off of that spot, so that's the key about China. It's really hard to grab, guys. That's the one thing that I would tell you. If you've never traded China, be careful, but learn from it, because I think this is really a trade to learn from. All right, guys, let's go to the next one here. We can talk about some different ones. What about this one from China? This one was actually mentioned from the chat just a little while ago. We traded it on Monday, had a really nice trade on Grab. It's made a nice little breakout, right? Has gone up about 4, 5, 6 days in a row. Had pretty much a red day coming into this. Right now it's pulling back, but I'm looking to see if it can go back to $6 and then recover right back. So maybe a move to $5.95 where the support is, and then that move right back higher. Yes, on Monday we traded this pretty well. We traded this right back up there to the 615s. It did the same move again on yesterday, where it undercut towards the support and then recovered drastically towards the end of the day, guys. This moved from $6 up there towards 640. That's a 6% move within itself. Good move here in Grab, one that I'll keep on the radar. Got more stocks to talk about. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get Michael Noss on and some other traders. We'll keep it going, guys. IonQ looking good here too, guys. That's up there towards 64.11. I was looking at this name yesterday, even took a little short on it, was able to actually make some money on it, and then got out, right? So we'll see what happens now. IonQ up there to 64. I'm just glad in the swing trade, I was still able to go green, and I was able to go green by taking a little bit of a VIX trade back towards the upside. Didn't get the craziest trade there, but was able to make a good, decent gain in the account. So overall, the swing account continuing to move forward, guys. It's not easy. It's not easy when the pressure's on, when you're getting right towards the end of the E valve, but I'm right there. I'm close. I'm close, guys. Now the balance is sitting at 1,305. So that tells me that I'm only, $195 away from getting this account, and it's continuing to go higher. We will see what happens, guys, but hey, the push is on now. And yesterday it was a little bit of a mixed day. It was a battle. And I think that that's the important thing, especially right now. I need to continue to battle. So yesterday pretty much started off with a $40 win, then a $40 loss. Then I took an $84 loss, but was able to bounce back with a $134 win. So that put me into the green. And this morning, taking a $6 loss on Tesla, trying to short it, but really it was more, it was working. It was up about $30. So I'm going to continue to watch this TSLL trade. If the SPY wants to go red, I think this TSLL trade could be a nice trade to start off the day with. And I might take it again here. It didn't get back above 19 there, and it kind of rejecting here, and I think it could really flush down. Tesla's one name that I'm looking to short actually right now, and so who knows, maybe I just take this trade right here, take another 10-cent risk here off the 1896. We got to get after it. We can't get so risk adverse when we're near the end that we're not taking trades. So this is definitely a trade that's on my radar today. Short Tesla. Open was a great call yesterday to the downside. I actually view that as an upside trade today to keep an eye out for. So we'll see what happens there. And up open, it's already getting the lift here. So I might take a day trade on this right now as it starts to break 9 here. It's pushing here, and it could actually rocket off of this 9 here. So I kind of like this look here. Let's see if we can really get this going. Ooh, a lot of share size going in here. So I'm going to try to jump on the trade here. Let's see if I can get it. All right, there, guys, just grabbed a little bit there in that push there. I saw 27,000 shares there at $9. Really big trade there. Let's see if this wants to just push off this $9 and starts to get going here up towards like 920s, 930s. Not looking for a crazy trade here. Only 200 shares, but let's see if this can get higher. This is on the day trade account. You guys see it on the right-hand side. Swings on the left, but taking a little bit of a long right here to start the day. I was looking at open and wanted to describe it for you guys, but there it is. It's already making the move here. Undercut on the hourly towards the 875, could recover right back up to 975. So really looking good here. I'm actually liking this, the way this is set up here. If it starts to really push here, 910s, I could even add. Let's see what happens if this really pushes off the $9 spot here. A lot of volume still going in there. Now 16,000 shares. So the wall is big at 9. It keeps hitting 9, and it seems like there's a repeat buyer there. Now we're starting to get the move here. So there's a little push there. I'm trying to add here on a pullback. Let's see if I can add here on the pullback. Starting to pull back a little bit there. There we go. Trying to grab a little bit more shares here. Below 9 would be the move. So let's see if it pulls back a little bit here. But definitely some volume came in there and it broke it there. It's back towards 905. Now right back towards my entry of original 200 shares. Looking to see if it can start making a bigger move here. But open, really starting the day off not too bad, and definitely got the volume. Don't want to lose my track on Tesla, though. Tesla is looking really good there. Got to keep an eye on it right here. So let's get Tesla ready just in case we're going to get this TSLL short. And I think we're going to try it here one more time here, guys, just in case we get a quick dip out the gates and we're able to kind of capitalize on this. So I'm going to take a short right there. TSLL, swing trade short, 1885, talked about it. Want to hold a little bit tight towards like 1892s. So like, let's say risking about 6 cents, 7 cents. It really needs to go in my direction fast for me to feel like I got this pegged. Really need to see Tesla start to break down, right? So going back to open also, but just watching it here to see if TSLL is going to break down or not. So back up above, let's say even 88s, 90s will tell me 1890s, TSLL. I'll show you that right now. So looking for this bottom angle on the hourly to get taken out, right? So if it can head down on the hourly, it could go down to 1825s really quickly. So I got to be a little bit patient here. Take the trade off the 15-minute, really kind of hold off the recent kind of low action, which was right around here, right? So you can see how that's kind of holding in right now and acting as support. If this can let go and get back into the 1880s, we're looking really good here. Back through the VWAP, which is 1895, is the concern area, and then I can get out. All right, got to continue to watch both trades here because that's just how it goes, guys. So I'm going to pull this to the left-hand side, continue to watch out there, and just be ready to trade. That's what it's about, guys. All right, let me actually pop out this order box here. I'll just have it on the left-hand side here, ready to go. Just in case I need to get out, need to know the order here. Open looking really good here now at 906. So I'm going to add here and go for the win here. Just added there. Now I want to hold off of 9 on open. Got 400 shares. Let's see if that really starts to run. Okay, got the Tesla TSLL kind of coverage if I need to cover here. Really want to see this come right back down here. Not really close above 1891. Watching it on a 15-minute chart. Looking for that rejection on the 15-minute, and it could go below 1885 in the next 5 minutes would be the sign that I got it pegged. Here comes open above the 1908, so open looking really good. The 908s, let's see if this starts to push now and really starts to drive. So it held sideways on the VWAP, got a lot of buying. I actually added because I saw the buying there. So I'm taking the shot here for it to start ripping towards the upside here and make some quick money here in the pre-market. Let's go, guys. 854, keeping it going. It's Money Mitch. You know how he is. Getting after it. How's you guys doing out there? Let's go. Let's go. Ion Q running again. Ion Q, not a bad move there if you're taking that money, Chip. Vic. That's definitely one to kind of keep an eye out. Good morning to you guys. And if you want to take a look at some of those quantum names, we could also take a look at QUBT. That's one name that didn't go yesterday. It went towards the end of the day, but I can see it continuing to go. Daily chart has a really nice setup off of that 1650. It recovered 16, so it could get towards 1750 today. I really like this QUBT if it really starts rocking and rolling. If Ion Q can stay hot, that's one name that I'd be watching. All right, guys, I'm seeing already a little bit of a pullback there and open. It's just not getting the continued lift off, but I'm watching the tape, and the tape is still looking really good here. So I'm just letting it work here. There you go. Some more squeezing action, more volume, more big volume coming in there. 15,000 shares at 907. So definitely you're seeing the big size into this. I'm going to put out a little order. I don't expect filling, but just to show some support into the buying, I'm putting out another 200 shares off of the 880s. I don't expect this to fill, but just in case we get a quick widening of the spread or a liquidity move here, got to be careful, right? And I'm okay with willing to get out here, break even if it's really not going to run back above nines, but hey, we'll give it the chance. 9 EMA right there at 9. So let's give this the chance to get the run. Another thing that we can use is, we've talked about this indicator. It's a combination indicator. It's a combination between RSI and the MACD. You can see how the MACD and the RSI has a tendency of leading right before the MACD crosses over. But look how the RSI is starting to trickle down and head towards that yellow line. If it starts to cross that, that's going to be my sign that the strength is starting to get lost here. So $9, big spot here now. I'm actually closing down the order here because it could just cut down really quickly here, and you got to be able to get out if you need to, right? So we'll see what happens. It just got some more buying there to step up at $9. That was at 902, 25,000 shares, 902. 16,000 shares. So a lot of shares coming in here now could do the breakout. Let's see if it starts to push and give you that breakout. Tesla doing the breakdown there, looking good on the swing also. So, hey guys, I'm taking trades here. I'm sorry that if I'm running over and not covering too much on the market. I promise I'll get back towards other action here, and we can talk the Sunrise Report and different catalysts out there. But hey, I'm here to make some money right now, and I'm focused in at getting after it this morning. All right, there's Tesla. Now TSLL starting to get into the right direction here. So TSLL, of course, shorting this. I'm looking for this to really start breaking down back through the 1870s. So now back above 1890s, I'll get out. As simple as that. I'm going to keep it like that. So I'm even going to set an alert to just keep it watched, because that's the thing about the pre-market, right? You need to be able to place orders, right? So one order that I could do is an notification order, right? So I'll show you guys how you can do that right now on the screen. Let's pull it up here. Let me cancel for right now. Pull the screen up to show you exactly how you do that. Trying to focus in on open also to show you guys that, but hey, I think this is important stuff right here, guys. So let's take a look here. Just keeping my eye on open also. Still got 400 shares. It's starting to get back to the 18,898. It's just not getting it. Ooh, 100,000 shares there. 110,000 shares there. Guys, this is important. This is more important than this trade here. Hold up, guys. Whoa. That was a crazy share order size, guys. Look at this. I'm not lying. On open right now, 100,000 shares there just went through. Whoa. 110,000 shares there at $8.99. 110,000. You guys seeing that? Am I losing it? Oh my God. What is going to happen right now in open? This is interesting. You don't see that type of size this early. So let's see what happens here. Is it a squeeze? Is someone getting squeezed out right now? Well, we're going to find out here, guys. I might step up to the plate here. If it starts to get above 910s, I'm going to add, actually, to see how much I can add. Let's find out. Let's see if I can do 400 if it gets above that. So, whoo-hoo. All right. Yes, I can add about 400. We'll see what happens if it starts to drive off of this $9 spot. But that share size is what's going on there in open. I'll tell you one thing, has my eyes like so I'm watching for it here, guys. And the one thing I got to make sure I do, I know I'm long right now, and it's okay to get out and then just get right back in, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind here. We might get a quick dip and then the real move to the upside. So willing to risk off the 890s right now, which is only going to be about $40. I will give up $40 to see if this starts to go. If not, I'll get out and get right back in, guys. This is going to be an interesting one. 110,000 shares just went through on open. I don't know what's going on with that, but I do know someone in the back that might want to talk a little bit about this. So let's kick things off. Let's start the show. I'll be focused on it. You guys out there, Tesla's falling too. So Tesla trade down is working well. I'm trying to stay focused. Now it's time to get to the trades. Let's go.
Google wants 200, baby.
You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money. It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at.
What's going on, man? How we doing out there? Let's go ahead. Let's bring on the man himself. What's up, Michael Noss? How we doing?
I'm doing good. Moving a little slow. Got in late last night, but doing okay. How's everything when I'm gone? I noticed you didn't crash the market, so that's a good thing.
I tried shorting. I tried everything that I could do with Michael Noss not being here, but I couldn't break it, man.
Maybe Jay Powell will do that for us later. Who knows?
Hey, we'll see. Right now, I am long open, short TSLL.
Okay.
And a big thing is for me, Tesla's gone a little bit too far. Remember, I talked about 400.
Yeah.
So I always feel like it's okay to flip on your trade too, right? Like, call the breakout, get the breakout, try to win on the upside, but also don't have no fear for calling the other side too, right? When a stock's gone a little bit too far, there's no reason why we can't trade it to the downside. And I feel like today's that perfect day where
It's all about
flush it.
It's all about time frames, right? It's one of those as in the very short run. Yeah, TSLL is up 40%, and Tesla's up 25%.
Yeah.
So in the very short run, this is a little bit too done. Now, in the long run, I think this was kind of a great textbook breakout. Makes me wonder if Elon's a bit of a closeted technician, and he noticed this breakout, and that's why he bought.
He put a tweet on the 420 because there was these guys, these like crazy guys that put out like so he had an interview where he jokingly said that Tesla's price was going to 420, and someone caught that, and then they just like tweeted it at him, and he was like, "Yep, well here it is. Here's your 420 coming."
It makes me wonder, and sometimes you see that with Buffett too, where
they have to look.
They're
you know
buying,
what I mean?
and it makes me think that he might be in the closet about it, but he saw that nice clean breakout and said, let's add just a little bit of fuel to the fire right now, as opposed to last week or next week or something like that. And really, and I'm sure you covered this, the buy as a percentage of his holdings or a percentage of his net worth was like near zero. It's like a rounding error,
Yeah.
which is hilarious to say $1 billion is a rounding error, but it's just creates buzz. That's all you need. And you create buzz at the right time. If he created buzz just in this area where Tesla was doing nothing, I bet you would have had way less of an impact. So, again, a little bit of a joke about the technician thing, but he did it on this day after this kind of huge solid breakout on solid volume. So wouldn't be surprised me if a couple of his finance buddies called him and said, "Hey man, you really want to step on the gas right now. You could get another quite little bit out of it." But will be interesting to see. Again, perfect world, we come back and we retest like 360, 370, the breakout. That's the strongest breakouts are ones that come in and they retest that level and they hold. So on TSLL, that would be a retest of like 17, $16. If it can kind of come in there and dig in a bit, that'd be great.
Intel looking interesting. I'm watching a little bit of some INTW also, man. I know it's not the sexiest name, but something tells me, Michael.
I've been
looking back, man, and sometimes a dog can have fleas until the government buys it. Then it doesn't have fleas anymore. Then it all of a sudden looks like all of a sudden became a cat.
And for me, I love this pattern. This pattern has been working so well lately. Is find something that has been kind of left for dead, and it puts in a slow base. And then when you're in such an insane running bull market, this is the kind of stuff that happens. Is companies that the whole thing is bull markets can forgive a lot of mistakes. Yep. So when you're in a bull market, you look for these kind of junkier names that are breaking out of low bases. So I'm with you. Just give me one solid close above $26, and I'm gonna either. I was looking at like some long-term leaps
Yeah.
as maybe a way to do it, cost efficiently, like 2027 or something like that, and just buy some that are that far out, a little bit out of the money, maybe $30 or something, and then just buy enough that if it goes to zero, I'm not worried, and lock it away until the thing goes. Because
Yeah.
yeah, even if we don't get anywhere near all-time highs at like $70, if it can break 25 and get to 40 or $50, that's an insane percentage return on something that is so safe that this is, if not the low, likely near a low. Like, again, Intel's not going to go bankrupt, especially with the government taking that big of an interest.
Yeah, they just can't let it fall now. Like, imagine how Trump would be viewed as if somehow Intel would go bankrupt now, right? So I think at this point, like, it's kind of the same way that I always look at LI. I don't bet against it because the Chinese government is so deep
Yeah.
entwined with it. So, like, you want to be betting on companies that the government bets on. You get what I mean? Like, that's like going and saying that I want to go short MP now. As much as it's high, I'll tell you one thing, doesn't make me want to go in shorting MP,
Right.
right? It makes me want to be a part of the party. And think about it this way. If you're like a money manager, right? That's the way I'm viewing it, Michael. Not like a trade like a retail. I got to think more like a bank here. And would I want exposure now that the government has exposure to this company? I would say yes, because I think people are going to be asking, especially if Intel starts ripping, why the hell didn't you get in? The government got in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's going to
Yep.
be the talking after it rips, right? Like that's like always how it comes, but that's going to be the conversation. And I don't think anybody wants to look at their desk and then be like, "Oh, we didn't have any exposure to this move," especially with such a like well-defined risk area, right? And that's
And
the key too.
and that's the thing, is you can take narratives like this and you just combine simple price action. You say, okay, I
Yeah.
want to trade on the side of the government. Doesn't mean you just go and buy it then,
No.
but you put a lot of this
Alerts.
on,
Alerts. And
and
you can just do it by alerts to just let you know when it finally is breaking out, right? And
and
then join the party.
MP, this anchor view app here, has been huge, right? And this is just the average price from right before this kind of breakaway initial gap. You can see we came in there and then we spent 4 or 5 days just consolidating at that price, and then a little bit of a breakout today. So
Yeah.
it's been super interesting just to see it holding that level. So this is one thing I like about it, is that's sitting around like 61, $60. So you know immediately where you're wrong, and then you can just
Yeah.
you can bail if the thing doesn't work out.
What I would be looking for specifically on that Intel is like, especially like if I would love for it to do like a 25 attempt today. So come back like below 25, go to those 24, 70s, and then just start ramping and don't look back, right? We'll see if we get that type of action, right?
So speaking of, right, I think that yesterday was finally broke the streak. It was like 9 days in a row or so on the Qs. And I
Yeah.
wonder if that, last time we had a streak like that, I was just looking while everyone was talking while I was away. It was just right in this zone, kind of right here, right? We had those multiple, it was like 10 days up in a row. And then when we finally broke the streak, we came down for 3 or 4 days. I just wonder what you're thinking there, and whether today is going to be kind of the same thing, where maybe we come in and retest this breakout, which again is perfectly bullish thing to do and is kind of what you want to see happen at like 582 or so. So I wonder if J Pow is going to come out and spook us a little bit, even though again we know what's going to happen. There's no shock of what is going to happen, like we
Yeah.
always talk about. It's what he says after the fact, like what's his
That's Yeah,
his
that's my
temperament.
thinking here is that it's not no longer by the rumor. It's already I already knew what you were doing, right? So at
Yeah.
this point, it's definitely a sell the news event today. That's my thing on the pullback potential. I think this rally was actually the rally of the interest rate. Like this was the pricing in, right? This rally, this recent rally that we just had was interest rate rally. That's the way I would view it and put it on the chart. Now I'm expecting how much pullback do you give me off of this rally, right? So you could do fibs, you could do things like that to look for some pullback and then use that as a continued driver forward, because the interest rate cuts will create tailwinds in the medium and long term, right? But in the short term, it could just for a second create a little bit of a correction style, not even correction, more pullback style move, right?
Well,
So
and yeah, it's because it's about again, we know what he's gonna do. We know
exactly.
if he doesn't do what is like priced in at 99%, that would be wild. But
Mhm.
so we know what he's gonna do. The question is how much is he going to signal down the road? Is
Yeah.
this going to be? We know the interest rate cuts are coming, and they're either coming through Powell or they're coming through Powell's replacement. So I think what the market's trying to judge is how soon, right?
Yeah.
Is if he comes out and he says this is the beginning of a cutting cycle, then that's going to cause one reaction. If he comes out and says this is the cut, and we'll see what happens after we do this cut, that's going to create. That's what I think everyone's worried for. If
Hey,
I was to
he-
talk to a lot of smart people this week, and they said just that. They said if he comes out and says, if he doesn't say that this is beginning of a cycle of cutting, which just signals that probably 25 basis points for the next couple meetings.
yeah.
They're like, that is my sell signal. If he just signals that this is just a one-time event, he's like, well, that's already priced in, huge beyond that.
That's exactly what I think we're going to get today, guys. If I had to make one prediction, it would be that he makes that one cut and he says he's going to stay on the sideline now after this cut because of the jobs numbers that are starting to show. So now that jobs weakness starts to show, means that he can't cut either. Remember how it was before? It was all about how, oh, but the worry about inflation was the reason I can't cut.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be the worry is the labor markets are weakening too much, so I can't cut too much. So get ready for it, because I think that's exactly what you'll be hearing from Jerome Powell. And I think that right there within itself is still kind of bullish for the market, because I don't think the market's really caring about the jobs number, but I think the Fed will here, and they kind of have to. Remember, they have two mandates: inflation and jobs. Those are their two mandates, right? From there, everything else follows. They don't have to cut interest rates. That's why the pressure of Trump hasn't really worked, because they don't have to. They just look at the inflation and they also point to the jobs. You know what? It's also going to be a comment. Oh, but the recent PCE data report that we like more than CPI did show a spike in inflation. So that also shows that we can't get too out of our shoes here with rate cuts. So that's what's Jerome is a kind of a he's a numbers guy, and he's more logical in a lot of the way he's taking the approach here. He doesn't try to get outside of his shoes too much. So I think
Yeah, and
you watch for him to stay within those realms.
right, and at this point, the bullying is not going to work because
Yeah.
he knows he's fired anyway. So why would you? You spend your whole career as the data-driven guy. That's your whole shtick from the moment you got in, and you've got a couple months left. You think you just kind of put your head down. You say, I came in as a data-driven guy. I'm gonna go out as a data-driven guy. You can yell at me all you want, but you're not going to go through the effort of trying to fire me because we don't know how it's gonna go. By the time the courts decide whether or not you can fire me, I'm gone anyway. So I think he's gonna hold it, and I think we're gonna see a lot of the same thing, the higher for longer and data driven type thing, and he's just going to kind of put his foot down because yeah, at this point you're just thinking legacy. You're thinking, how are they going to remember you as Fed chair 20 years from now? You're not thinking of what's happening right now.
Good morning to everyone out there, guys. Cutting my open position there, but I will let you guys know, we talked about it just recently before Michael came on, 110,000 shares going through there on open in one order. So I don't know what that was, but it's something that has me definitely on alert. I was looking for open to go back to the upside, called it on the short yesterday on a really, really kind of brave short, and it was a great one. Right out the gates, came down there towards the $9. I hope somebody was able to nail that now.
Yeah, and I guess I'll because as you guys know, I've been long open from around $3, right? Been
Yeah.
talking about it a lot. I cut out, when we came through 10, I got out, I think 2/3 of the position. So now I still hold some, but it's way less of a position. It was obviously a great trade,
Mhm.
and but still, so the game plan for the rest of it is I'm not even looking at price action anymore. I'm just looking at this graph right here, which is the short float data. And we got an update recently, and the crazy guys shorted more. They shorted more into this move. So yeah, I'm just looking at this. I don't really care what the price. I've locked in
Yeah.
enough that whatever I sell is for a profit now. So the question is, when are they going to cover? That's the only thing I'm looking at.
Guys, I'm back in, and this is a trade that I really think that this is going to be that day where you got to be a little careful. But I do think that 110,000 share order, something tells me that was a short running. Might have gotten short, might have gotten a nice move yesterday down below 9, and was like, man, this thing should open up at $8 today, and we're set. Well, there it is. It's right back up, and the daily pattern looks really kind of developing here. It doesn't look bad now. It's an undercut and rally style that we talk about all the time, where now they undercut it, right? They washed out some of the bulls. Now is when they try to send it. This is when I don't get in front of it, right? Like even for me, telling me that to short open today, I'd be like, oh, no, you're pushing it, dude. You're not on the top end of the resistance. You're definitely near the support. You just had a washout day. Today's the day they could squeeze the shorts from yesterday. Not necessarily the longs, right? They're not pressuring longs from yesterday. They're pressuring shorts from yesterday. And so today we need to see if those shorts go running and buyers come back in, right?
Yeah, it's I love to see that, and the more we look at this, the more it looks like this should be, so the pattern that you trade is when you get that,
Oh,
that
yeah.
flush, and then you're right back up through.
You
So
made it like 3 or 4 times this week. Like there's some really nice ones. There's some really nice ones out there. These undercuts and rallies. TSLL the whole way up, it was doing it. So like the pattern's there. Now it's just kind of be kind of coding it. We're gonna work on that, man. We gotta get this done within the next month. Let's work on that and
absolutely,
we'll,
yeah,
we'll
because
nail it down.
it just the best kind of systems out there are things you can test, but also things that just make there's a psychological reason, right? You're not just, hey, the numbers work because the numbers work. It's the numbers work. And, if you had to sit down and explain it to somebody who is new to trading or hasn't traded before, you could explain it very easily. You just say, look,
And
they,
just psychology
yeah,
terms, right? Like panic of buyers, right? Getting out at the open,
yeah,
shorts actually maybe getting open new positions, right? Then once it hits those like capitulation lows where you're just like cutting out those bulls, right? What ends up happening? Oh, now it starts squeezing back. Now the shorts are running, right? And now the calm buyers, the ones that are looking for those actions of you hear every time, red to green or green to red.
yeah.
There's those style of traders. And it's the fun part is I think you trade with multi-time frame type of traders there. And
Yeah.
that's
And,
what you want to be doing.
like this looked definitely like a short, when you were breaking this support. And then the fact that it comes back through quickly, that you've got a bunch of shorts that are probably trapped and need to get out. And at the same time, yeah, just like you mentioned, anyone who got stopped or sold out of the position, they're back in. You're just stacking, the more and more people that need to buy for some reason, the just better it's going to be for you, right? It's forced trading is always the best trading to be on.
Yep, we'll look to see if Open gets going here. All right, guys, definitely get ready for the bell, guys. Just to cover a little bit was on the sunrise. It couldn't get into too much. Of course, all eyes on the Fed, right? That's what the main thing is. The Alibaba, of course, jumping on an AI chip deal as it climbed, as Chinese state media reported that they're pretty much hating on more of the NVIDIA chips and jumping on Alibaba's AI chip. So buying up Alibaba's chip and definitely China on the breakout. We just talked about it. We talked about recently, Michael, here, JD and PDD. Great style of what I like to call leaders to laggard, right? So this is lagging, doesn't seem like it's sexy, but all of a sudden, if the tide just continues in a direction, it starts to lift all boats, right? And we've talked about this, the recent run on FXI, and there's a couple other names. I'm looking at the China auto names. I also like this name that I traded earlier this week, Michael, Grab. It's It's a China
Uber
tech
of
name, right? Yeah, the Uber of China, and it
uh,
looks great, man. It looks awesome. I traded this on Monday, got a really nice trade on it. Just a daily chart just looks really kind of like it's developing higher and higher. So we'll see what happens on these China plays,
I
right?
think a big. I thought that one was had a pretty big short float on it too.
Tesla starting to drop there, looking good on that trade for a short on Tesla today. It's dropping fast here, and I got it pegged in the pre-market, feeling really confident about that one now.
Yeah, it'll be now just, a warning for everybody out there, for the especially the new traders. Often before a kind of big, and this is a bigger FOMC event because there is expected to be something happening. Quite often you get a move off the open. You get for
Quick move.
basically the time we're streaming, there's going to be some action, and then you have it just completely die down, and then the Fed insanity, and then we move on. So that's kind of the theme for today is you want to be locked in, as the kids say, kind of laser focused here because you only have this short window to potentially make trades and then go for a nice walk and wait for J Pow to leave the stage, and then maybe there'll be some more action. But yeah, don't get it's not the day to overtrade. It's the day, to do your research, take a couple big bets, and then go from there.
Yeah, that's why it's important to be ready here out the gates, guys. So be ready. We got about 8 minutes left. We'll keep talking trades, but of course, you guys can talk some other ones. Another name that's been recently running is Pony, Pony AI. And what is
Yeah.
Pony AI? A China name, right? So, like, sometimes it's like this, right? Where this is not an obvious China name, but it is, right? And so I think you keep watching this. A lot of traders were watching for this to break to the upside. Now it's getting going for real. Like it's 15 to 17, almost 18. You're talking 16% breakout. I do think this one could still pull back to like 1650 and give you that opportunity. But definitely you're seeing more China breakout, right? So
Yeah, and it was so funny at the conference I was at the event. A lot of China talk, a lot of the fact that if you look at this compared to the overall market, we still haven't done anything. It's still,
yeah.
if you just do distance from all time highs, to get back to all time highs, not even all time highs, just say this prior cycle high at 2021, it's still a 32% gain. So a lot of talk about, yes, it's moving a little bit now in the short term, but that we're still early. And if we're ever going to get back to actual all-time highs on the FXI, that's like 100% from here. So if that's going to happen, then there's going to be a large, on a weekly chart here, a larger China cycle going on, then the percentage gainers on some of these things like Pony could be just nuts, right? This thing, talking about all-time highs, to get to all-time highs is still a 35% move. And then if we break that and continue to go, you could see, 50 to 100% gain on some of these smaller China names. So these guys weren't, this was a lot of investor talks. They don't care about the move over the last couple of days. That doesn't, they don't care about that one way or another. They're thinking larger cycles that we could be in, this Chinese cycle, a multi-year cycle. So it'd be very interesting if these guys are right, just to look at some of these different markets that could have just huge multi-bagger returns.
All right, guys, open dropping there to about the 890 spot there. My risk is pretty much 889 there. It tapped it right now. Just keeping an eye on the open towards the bell here. Tesla trade looking really good. I'm just going to continue to let that work towards the bell here. We got about 6 minutes for that. I'll probably put a break even stop out the gates there just to make sure it doesn't just spike over me. But still going to look for that trade. And looking around out there to see what other trades are setting up. Anything that's on the radar for you, Michael? I know you've been out for a little bit, but hey,
No, and I'll be going slow into it. So no, nothing, nothing that in this, again, another beauty of kind of bot trading and systematic
yeah,
trading. I've got everything in the bot raring to go. I've got up to 40 names going on, but didn't have a chance to look really at any of them. So I'll just kind of call them out as they come, but nothing discretionary, nothing that I added myself because it's important that if you're out of the game, even for just a couple days, and again, landed at 3 a.m. this morning, so a little bit tired this morning. It's fine to take a observing day, right? Let your bot work. I'm not planning on doing any touching it in any way, shape, or form. Let it work, and then kind of reevaluate, observe, get back into the flow of things, see what's going on in different sectors and industries. And it looks to be a good day to do that anyway, because again, we have JPOW talking. Sometimes that leads to choppy action. I'm just marking out some levels here on the ES or the SP 500, and we're kind of smack dab in a lot of these levels. So a lot of things just pointing to, take your bets, find things that are moving, but for just general market names, a lot of chop.
All right, setting that stop there to remind myself towards the gates on Tesla. I already put it out there. Like today's the day where I can't get too pretty with that swing account. Getting closer and closer, Michael. New
Nice.
high on it. New high. We're close. Within reach. Within reach, really within one trade. But just got to be smart, right? I'm at 1311. Need to get to 1500. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's stay smart. Let's stay smart. No need to overextend. Keeping losses between like kind of $40 and $50 is the goal, and we'll just keep pushing. Let's go. Let's make that money. Day trade accounts been doing really well on like kind of bigger swings, taking my time and then just taking a swing when I feel I have a really good chart. Yesterday's chart was RCAT. RCAT, really nice move right back up. Talked about this on Trader TV also. So if you guys catch those interviews, you guys will also hear about it. I always bring the trade idea right after, right here also. But RCAT recovery yesterday through 10. Beautiful move, man. Had about like 800 towards 1,000 shares on the first break. Sold some on that first break. Was able to ride it towards like 1050, but it went all the way up to 1090s. And when I sold my big position at like 1050s, I actually re-added 1,000 shares and just risked $100 that I had just made a good amount on. This is one thing that I think I need to do more often, Michael. I don't know how you feel about this in day trading, especially. It's a little bit different. It's definitely a little bit more like once we take profit, a lot of the times we kind of like put the name to the side and we'll stop trading it. But sometimes I've realized that if you can just put a little tiny risk on there, it
Yeah.
could actually help.
Yeah, it's hard to do to remove yourself from your bias, but I notice a lot of big name and pro day traders do it where they'll have a name and they'll have a potential direction for that name for the day,
Mhm.
but they're trading in and out around, they call it around a core position, right? So,
I like that.
you know,
Yeah,
I
it just works. I think
yeah, like, so they say you and just the nitty-gritty, say you like open long and you have 1,000 shares of open and long side. Well, moves up, you sell 300 shares, then it pulls back and you buy those back, and then it moves up a little bit and you sell those. And you're trading ranges, you're trading kind of with the trend, but you're keeping, 500 of those, maybe 1,000 shares on, and then you're just adding or removing all day. And one thing they mention a lot is just keep them engaged in the name. They're watching it. They're if they're making a few bucks on these trade arounds, great. Even if they're breaking even on the trade arounds, fine. But it's keeping you really, really locked in and glued to the trend of that name, so they can see when that ends, and then they can just exit the whole position and move on. But yeah, a lot of people, they'll just narrow the focus to a couple names a day, but they might take 20, 30 trades in those 2 to 3 names, just around whatever bias they have.
Sorry, putting out a tweet here because our
Yeah.
live trading room is open, guys. I'll give you guys a tweet to kind of retweet for us in a little bit, but open, just starting to break 9. I'm trying to see this thing fly out the gates here. Of course, like Michael talked about, today's might be that day to take those quick trades for here.
Yep.
So I'm more than willing to let this rip. 110,000 shares went through at 9. It seems like there's keeps this repeat buying at 9 or a seller trying to get out. So that could also be the thing here. It could be one of these short sellers that needs to get out here. Be careful out the gates, but it's going to move fast. Let's go.
Yeah, we're opened up here. Right off the bat, we have, right, everything pretty much flat across the board. We actually have the Dow dramatically outperforming here, but Q's up 0.05%, SPY up 0.04%. So again, just don't get too crazy, because not only are we not gapped up or down too much, we're sitting inside yesterday's range. So just pay attention to that. Look for things that are outside their prior day range. That might be, likely a better move than looking at just market components and market names. So, first moves up. Let's see what happens over the next few minutes here.
First moves up, down on open here, getting definitely hit hard there. Just trying to hold off the 880 spot. So I got to stop at 878s there. If it hits me, it'll get me out there. We'll find out here what happens here on open.
Yeah, wild and choppy open just for the market in general. So we just need to see MFC.
Out there on TSLL, came right back to my entry, got me right on the KISS 1885s, and it's right back down. So could just be chasing that entry there. It hit me right on the dot. So usually that tells me, watch out. It might just come right back down. But Tesla, we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, SPY again, first minute move up, and now we're pulling back just a bit. So let's wait for kind of the first 5 minutes to hammer out. I didn't even know if we have anything, but I didn't even look.
Recovery and open here. Looking good. Right back above nines here now. Looks really good there. Now I need to start seeing it send. Let's see if it starts sending here. Stepping up to the plate, guys. Now up towards 1,200 shares. Let's go.
Wow, nice. Yeah, it's
Oof, good look brick. Good break on that first amount, guys, here. I'm going to put a stop at 909 just to, if it comes back on me, I need to take this cash. There's a quick little rip there, guys. Nice little rip there. Going to look to sell about 600 shares on this rip here. Boom, just sold 600 shares. Still got that stop in place at 909. Let's go, traders. Making money. Let's get it. Let's get it. First trade on. Cashing. Let's get it. You guys see it right on the screen there. Bought some there on the 903 break. Right back up. Sold some there at 920s. Willing to let this kind of continue to work. It needs to be above 10 cents, so I'm going to put it up to 911 now and trail it. Let's see if it just wants to keep on trailing now. There we go. That's what I want to see. I'm going to pull it back a little bit on the trail. You guys see it's on the trail stop, but I pulled it back a little bit just in case we got a little bit of some spreading out here. Now I'm at 914, just riding up the up wave. There we go. Now to 166, now to 930s. Now we got 112 secured. It's still trailing it. You see how it's moving up. Let's see if it hits here. If not, I'm going to keep trailing the action and just let it keep going. There you go. First money. First trade in the bag. Let's go, traders.
yeah, just watching the overall market here, and kind of like we talked about, pretty choppy overall.
TSLL was the move, man. They got me right on that, dude. This is why you don't put out the freaking. Oh man, right to the kiss. Right to the kiss. But hey, I'll let that kind of play out there. Got to be patient on the swing trade. So I'm going to be patient on that. Going to look for other trades out there. Intel trying to recover 25. The exact move I talked about. Undercut trying to recover 25. That might be the trade for me there. All out open on that rip. So quick in, quick out. I'll take the money and run. Not a bad trade. Like about $200 made there. 188. So I will take that and just let's keep working.
Watching, right, we're getting a bit of divergence, right? The Qs are now down on the day, where we have the RSP, which is our equal weight large cap names, up 0.5%. So we're definitely getting weighed down by large cap tech. So large cap tech is definitely pulling us as I look around. So yeah, Tesla, Nvidia actually selling. So Nvidia and Tesla are the things pulling us for sure.
Oh, that was at least to get me within probably $50 on that TSLL, but I'll just let it go now. I have to chase now, and I hate chasing. So, hey, is what it is. I tried to get a little too picky, put that break even out there, got caught. Should put at least a little risk there, and that's part of the battle, guys. So just let it go, but good trade. Coming to you.
Yeah, this just seeing kind of the rotation here. So RSP. Up 0.5%, IWM up 0.5%, where we have the Qs down. So just like I always talk about, the positioning is still on, where they're still playing this game, where they're short the IWM versus the Qs. This looks like it's a little bit of an unwind, at least today, where the Qs are selling, IWM is ripping. That trade is not nearly as inflated as it should be, but it's
Long open.
yeah, it's still there. That game is still there, so you still have to be careful of that one for sure.
Read long open here, guys. It started to rip right back off of that 9 EMA. There's the rip higher. That's what I'm talking about. Money Mitch. Let's get after it, guys. Now break even out there. If it just comes back, it's fine. I got 600 shares back into the green here with open. Let's get it. Let's get it. Here to cash. Here to cash. Focused. Let's go. Let's see if this wants to get 950 and really start to rip here. There's the 940s. There's the 945s. I'm going to sell on the rip here. If I can get it to 950s, I don't mind selling here.
This just looking at to this open daily chart again. I'm full disclosure. I always say it. I'm still long. The idea is that this is just looking like a pretty nice looking bull flag at this point. You know, that you had the pop, and then the fact that they didn't give that up at all, and they've just been consolidating here in this tight range. If you do, say a 30-minute chart or something, is looking very bull flaggy. So there's a good chance that if this thing gets going, the anchored view app from the exact high is sitting at 950. So through that, maybe there's
Boom, boom,
there's
boom.
see if
Come
we try to
on,
break up.
Hendricks. Hendricks trying to rug pull me, man.
SPRC. Oh yeah, so it's Defs. It's one of these wild guys. But yeah, that's an interesting look there.
All right, looking really good here. Stop in place in the green here for open for another $80. Looking for it to rip higher above this 950s, but if it doesn't go, well, there you go. We'll keep it going here. Nice trading on open here, guys. Let's go, let's go.
Yeah, this divergence continues, right? Q's new low of the day. RSP, the equal weight S&P 500, new highs for the day. So it's continuing. It's not over. The great unwind, as I've been calling it, keeps going.
That Tesla short is really the FOMO is there, guys. The FOMO is loud on that Tesla short, man. It is dropping fast. Tesla down to 412. The way I saw the big chart was 410 move, right? We're almost already there. Like I was looking for Tesla to eventually go to 400 again and retest, but I think 410 more today is range because we're going to get a range bound at some point, I think, today. I think you're probably in that camp with me, Michael, that at some point we're just going to start range bounding on a day like today. So looking to make cash early if I can. Right?
Well, what's interesting here is that we're getting this now up 0.6% on the IWM, down 0.12% on the Qs. So I don't know. Are they worried about more than a quarter point? You think if you were, because this unwind is happening quite a bit because A, they've been wrong for a long time, so they have to unwind. But B, the fact that interest rates should lift small caps and really not affect large caps that much at all. And I just wonder if people are starting to get worried that the rate hikes or the right hike or what he's going to say is going to be a little bit more signaling to more cuts because of all days to unwind this position, this high is wild. That it's just this is
out open, might get back in it, guys. Took the cash. I'm just coming in and out like a fast food restaurant, man, making money.
The dispersion that we're seeing here, this is a big one. This isn't just normal kind of back and forth action there.
Man, that Tesla short, that would have been the account, man. That's a tough one to take. You know what I mean? So the FOMO in me is going to be high, because that was the account right now. With that flush right there, that would have been the account. So, hey, it is what it is. Got to get off of it. The trade was there, just got a little too picky, and that's why I didn't get the trade, right? That break-even setting was a negative in the trade, and that's what you got to look back at, right? It's not about focusing on the FOMO now. It's about understanding that it was there, and the trade setup was good, just needed to hold off of like maybe 1895s. So 6-cent risk would have got me the trade.
Just having some bot issues.
Looking for a quick pullback and open back down towards like $9.10, $9 where that big share size was, right? We got a big pop out the gates here. Pullbacks could be coming in. Remember how I talked about it? Quick rips, right? Right now, I'm not looking for open to go to like 12 today. That's just not in my book. Here's a daily chart that I talked about that looked pretty, that no one wanted to probably buy when I mentioned it. Now it's looking a lot better. Docu, looking really good. Rejected the gap, now coming back through a trend line, breaking the 83, 84. One name to keep on watch, Michael. I like it. I like it, man. What do you think about this chart? It just looks prime.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those where everyone's looking for kind of what's next. It's kind of been proven that Nvidia and semiconductors are doing okay, but they're just not the place anymore. They were the place. They were hot. Everything was fun. Um, but they're not the place you want to play. They're not the playground that's interesting or fun. So
Yeah.
everyone's looking for what's next. Software being a big one. DocuSign being part of that as well.
All right, might take one more trade at open, guys. Killing it already. But I'm just trying to use the house's money in certain times to get back in. I think right now would be that opportunity on the 9 EMA to just play it off the 930s here. So I'm just waiting to
Well,
see if it can get back towards like the 940s here.
right, and this is always something very interesting to do on bull flags, right? You just take the anchor view out from the high, and that was, as I said, it was 950. It came right up to like 955 and then rejected. So sometimes, it's not going to be an absolute brick wall, but it has to, back off and play around that zone. And then eventually when it gets through that zone, that can be the ticket, is really just, it takes a little bit of a breather and then it smashes through, and then that's the play.
Interesting bull flag reversal. So like key reversal, APLD is one name that I like to the bull side, but I think that was a real hard bull trap out the open today towards 1950. On the daily, really tippy toppy at that spot there. You see right now how it's like really tippy toppy, like they're right there. Like that could be a nice little setup on a pullback to short back down to short term moving averages. So like move back towards 18 today on a APLD on a name that's really bullish, right? So I'm gonna take a shot on that. I'm shorting it a little bit here. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna risk off of like kind of the 1935 spot and look to see if this just breaks down towards the 18. Only got 200 shares right now. I want to see it start to work in my direction and then look to see if I add towards 19.
Yeah.
ESLL already bouncing, right? So like remember those range moves, right? Tesla hit, are the Qs hitting 590s and right back up? So watch out for maybe a little bit of some range style, right? So
Yeah, and the dispersion is just continues, right? We have the Qs bouncing a little bit, and just as the Qs start to bounce, the IWM starts to come in. So these things are no longer acting super correlated. It's quite the opposite. These things are acting completely uh, adverse and antithesis to each other, right? One rips, the other tanks. So just know that will probably continue. So generally speaking, you'll have these indices in theory should move at least
back
somewhat
and open.
together, but they're moving completely different right now.
Back and open, guys. Focused in, guys. This is the one thing that I kind of did like while you were gone, Michael. That I kind of, it's not nothing that helps the traders too much, but it's harder to like focus in on the overall market and move back and forth when I'm by myself. So I just was really honing in on execution and had a really good week so far. So trying to nail this open again and right back in it here for the 9 EMA hold and break back above 940 and breakout just continues and squeeze can continue here. So I'm risking on the 930s there. There's the pop towards the 940s, exactly what I want to see. And I'm going to do the same thing I did last time. I put the stop right off the bottom of this candle and said either go or I'm okay with you coming back and cutting me $30 here. The opportunity is like 200, 300. I will take $30 risk all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's how I think you got to approach sometimes with these penny names, right? Keep it tight, but at the same time, also know where you're getting out and getting in is, right? And make sure that the risk to return is really good. If it's not worth it, man.
Well, and again, that's just it is a perfect way to trade in a way a lot of people will. And
There we
you know,
go.
even the way that my bots do is it's not looking for new symbols all day long to trade. You you pick a couple, right? You pick a couple ideas, you pick a couple symbols, and those are your focus. You've got a
Oh,
bias and levels, and
let's go. Let's go. Got another one here in open. Let's get it, guys. Rinse and repeat now, moving up the stop towards 950 and let it go. If it wants to reload, that's okay. I'll just take the $60, right? Like I'm putting myself in the green and sitting in it. I'd rather do that right now, guys. The way this trade's working, let's just keep rinsing, repeating it, and look for another breakout here towards like 970s. I'll sell the rip. I'll sell the rip. Just keep rinsing, repeating it. Let's go.
yeah, the Qs continue, right? Hitting a new low here just for a second on the Qs again, right at the pre-market low. So pretty important zone here, right at pre-market lows. So we tap that and then we bounce just again. But again, look at the RSP just shot off the open and rip. And what's interesting, if you take the SPY that's pulling back to new lows and the RSP, and the reason I always compare these is because they're the exact same stocks in these two indices. They are just weighted differently. So you can get the same names and they are just weighted completely differently. So then you know that it's the big cap guys that are really killing us.
Pullback coming for that 950 might hit me on the out. I'm okay with that. There you go. Out. Take another cash, right? Like that's just the way I'm going to keep playing it because now I could use that same money to get right back in and then risk off the 940, right? Like it's cash. It's already in my pocket versus unrealized. And then the stock goes down and I don't take the cash, right? So just kind of rinse and repeating. The key though, every time I've been entering, it's on 9 EMA pullbacks. That's what's been keeping me alive here.
Sorry, just reporting a little bit of an issue here to our guys at Signal Stack while we're building out new and cool things for the bots. Just sending. It's one thing that's really cool is someone who's actually trading these things.
Yeah.
I did get my first trade here in KTOS. Some defense name, I don't know, but it's just basically pulling back. Had a really strong day. If we go to like a 30-minute chart, basically just buying pullbacks in this really strong uptrend. This thing's gone up 23% in a couple days. Does that little dip off the open, so the bot picks them up here in the kind of 74-ish area. Again, all day hold here for sure. This is a name that I've played before. It's cybersecurity, I believe. It's not going to be a crazy multi-bagger, but again, just kind of leaning into the bot, doing what it's doing. Very, very detached today. Working on things like bug reports instead of trading too much now. Everything looks like it's actually bouncing pretty good. So we have the QQQ bouncing off these lows. We have the SPY. Now up on the day, RSP continues to scream higher. Same with the Dow, same with the mid cap, same with the IWM, just screaming higher. So we are getting a nice bounce after we had that initial dip.
All right, guys, up 346 on that open trading, guys. You guys see 3 or 4 greens there. And I'm also seeing a big wall at 950 here now. 60,000 shares waiting there. Now went to 46, but seeing a big wall at 950 and 956. So I don't know that the shorts trying to get out, right? There's like big orders just trying to get out, but definitely seeing more volume waiting there. And that's why I think we're getting this pullback. It needs that volume to really kind of drive through 42,000 shares, right? It's not going to make that easy. It's like a little wall that causes the stock to pull back. I can show you guys that right on the Super Dom. If you're using the Super Dom on Trader Evolution, you'll see it there. 950s, you see that 47,000 shares. That's acting like a little bit of a wall. So we might make a quick move to like 940s and then look to recover that. You see how it went to 56? There's 127,000 shares there. This is the real wall right up there at 56. There's 126,000 shares there waiting there. So just be careful out there. If they take it out, though, it could easily just keep on rocking and rolling. So we'll see what happens here. Open, trying to go back for that 950 break here. I think it might wash the 940. So I'm being patient. Being patient is what's paid here. Let's keep being patient. Let's get after it, guys. Open doing really well. And I do see that overall, it's a pretty good looking day out there, guys. Defensive leading the action, communication services, real estate, utilities, basic materials, financials. It's not tech, though. That's where I
No.
think a lot of people are watching, and they're not seeing the move. Healthcare, financials rebounding, basic materials rebounding, coal rebounding. There's the rip out in open, and it went fast through the 56, man. Didn't give me the chance. I think that's someone getting squeezed. That's someone getting, now it's at 970, 60, 70,000 shares. Whoever's trading this is squeezing somebody hard.
Good.
Hard. They're squeezing them hard, Michael. You can see it on the tape, man. It just, when it goes that fast through that wall, you need some volume to push through that, man. And it just went fast. It didn't give me the chance at 950 to re-enter. Remember how it's giving me the chance? This time it said, no, Mitch, you're not getting the shot to get in here.
Good. I'll
Big
take
rip
that
there on open.
as someone still long. I'll take that. And at some point this ends. Just like we talked with, there's big conversations about this IWM unwind at the conference I was at, and everyone just keeps asking, how does this end? And same thing I think it does with open, is that it ends in an explosion. It ends in a fund having to close its door, the same as the whole GameStop thing ended with that Melvin Capital. It won't go on forever, but at some point someone goes pop, and yeah, open could be at 20 by then at that point.
So now I could look to shift over, right? Like an aggro would, right? So what would be that? It would be going to look at open or OPAD, right? Look how OPAD's starting to get hot, right? Off fours today, now to 440s. This is what I mean by leaders to laggard, right? This is how the action moves a lot of the times. So the waves have come for open. Now I'm looking for the wave to come in for OPAD. A quick dip to like 430s, 425s, willing to take the shot.
The Mike, are you long or short? What do you? I'm always generally long and short. It just depends what we're talking. I'm short the IWM. I'm long open. I've got a whole bunch of long swings on, but yeah, if we're just specifically talking open, I'm still long. I'm not nearly. Again, I got about 2/3 of my position around 10. I talked about that with you guys before I left. That was just a nice technical and psychological area to say, okay, it's time to just lighten up, and then that allows me to do what I want to do with the rest, which is until I see a big tick down, which I know will be delayed. It's always 2 weeks delayed, the new short float data. Till I see that big tick down, I'm in, right? I'm going to stay in. I'm going to hang out.
All right, leading the market right now in my quantum names, take off there, QBTS up to $20. Real takeoff there, guys. Of course, a name that I brought up plenty of times. USAR also on my alert out there, guys. That's starting to go, and it did the move we talk about, Michael. This would have been one that would have easily been on the radar for it. I had it on the radar for myself, and this would have gotten me in, right? Like, boom, boom. Bomb, get in there at like the 15 or 1490s. You're risking on 1450s. You're looking for this to get at least to 1550 if you're 1-to-1. If you're 2-to-1, you look for 16, right? And 16 yesterday, 1589 high. Not a bad approach.
Yeah.
Not a bad approach, right? So another thing is to look for stocks that maybe break out of ranges, and we're looking for the undercutting that range today.
Well,
Right?
yeah, and it's
Simple.
the thing I like about it is that one of the most, like, the oldest school and simplest trading strategy out there is just buying support, selling resistance. And what we're doing is essentially, in a way, buying support. You're just saying, let them
Let 'em
poke at it first,
Yeah, let them
right?
panic some of the buyers, right?
Yeah.
And
But because you're buying it kind of back through that area, you're saying, okay, well, I'm still buying near support, and the thing that I like about it more than anything else, because I think even if this has a sub 50-50 win rate, it'll still be wildly profitable, is that you know exactly where you're wrong. You put your stop at that low and say, okay, they flushed them out, and that's where they came in. Generally, we don't see them flush it again. So you're
yeah,
just putting your stop the low of the day. You're saying if that low holds, then this could be an all-day ripper or a real big move. But if that holds and they sell it off, then the breakdown was real, and then it's time to it's probably time to go on that
How's
one.
gold doing today? It was very interesting, the down action in it yesterday. It was really trying to wash out AU. So I think it's an interesting trade to start watching now. AU holds the 90 MA, but when it breaks it, it's like a free fall. So we'll see if gold can come back today. It's doing well on the bounce back, right? So watching for it. You know what's been really hot is coal again, and METC moving up again tells me to keep an eye out for one more pullback in this name. I like it, already up there to 27 today. Big liftoff in METC, right? So if it comes back to 26 though, yell at me because I want it. Sometimes it's like that, especially right now. I think in a day like today, I need to get these comebacks. I can't chase. Chasing right now is not the move for me, right? Like as much as I like QBTS like this, I'm not going to go and chase this move right now, right? Like I like QUBT, right? And look at that move. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh, I like the opening action too. Held those undercuts towards 665s and boom, she goes. And I talked about this, leaders to laggard, right? This is exactly how I like to trade, guys. It's understanding that Ion Q is the leader. It stays hot today, so I don't trade Ion Q. I look for a lag, and I could have been playing QUBT, could have been playing QUBTS, and even Rigetti for that matter, right? And so you're using one as an indicator and use the other three as trading vehicles. And if you wanted to, you could separate your capital to kind of go at it in three different ways, right? And
Well,
so,
the other thing is that the leader generally, not always, but the leader is generally lower beta, lower volatility
yes.
than the little ones, right? It's usually the quality company that goes first, and with quality generally becomes less risk, but also becomes less potential return. So then, you trade because we're just looking for a big move. You can trade the more speculative type names, which is hilarious to say in the quantum computing space because it's all this dumb speculative. But yeah, a QBTS or something like that is going to potentially have more juice in it to trade because it's less established. Therefore, there's more edge in it.
Again, FLNC, you guys know how I love it. It does this move so many times, Michael. The undercut and rally. I played it again this week, man. It's just been good to me. And if I would have kept it overnight, man, it would have been like an insane trade. But it was one of those trades where I kept it on this move, and then it opened up the next day at like it went as high as 830s, right? So from 7 recovery to 830, those are good percentage returns. That's 15% on a name that keeps doing it, right? So we'll see if it does it again today. Undercut 750, right back above, right? Undercut, right back above.
It yeah, it's very much sometimes you get those patterns in certain stocks, and it's a make hay while the sun shines, right? It won't last forever, but if you can get it a handful of times before it stops working and manage risk correctly, then it's great. What else you want?
Yeah, BE is the one that I'm going to keep a close eye because if this starts to come down, yeah, it could kind of ruin the trade. But BE is all the one that it's running with. The leader, lag effect, right? The lagging is FLNC. The leader action, definitely BE, without a doubt, right? I mean, absolute monster ride in BE. Solar up today, definitely. If you've been looking at solar names, you can't blame you. I hate them, but hey, they're trading up. They're definitely moving. There was a Chinese. Oh no, what's the trade from yesterday? Turbo, the turb, the
Oh yeah,
turd, the
the
turd.
turb, not the turd. I thought you were saying the turd. I'm like, what? What's that could describe a lot of stocks out there in the market right now. Which one are we talking about exactly?
Yeah, it's turd, but we got to call it the turd today because it's definitely on the hangover short there. Look at that thing. Kapow from $18-20 yesterday, now back to $9, down 55%.
So what treasury company is this? What
It's
what
a
are they doing?
solar company.
Oh. See, it's funny. You see something you never heard of before pop, and I'm like, oh, well, what are
What are
they
they
holding
into?
now?
What are they into? AMD, hot, hot, hot. Let's see if that can continue here. Intel's the name I liked. Remember, it recovered that 25. Now it could go for that move to 26 here. I kind of like the risk off the 25 spot here. I don't know how you're feeling on that one. There's OPAD to 455. I talked about OPAD's move. I never got the pullback there to 430s, so I'm just waiting, right? But I do think this could drive, a little bit higher. Still looking for a little pullback there. How's open looking there? 992 now, guys. Remember, I had 1,200 shares at like 9 earlier this morning. So, yeah, of course, looking back, hindsight, but look at that breakout. What a move. I'm glad I just was able to call this stock this week short and long. Very important as a day trader to not get too stuck on what you saw yesterday and making sure that you're in the present moment. And the way that I saw it was, yes, they washed out some bulls yesterday, but they didn't gap it down and continue that fade off today. They brought it back and they left it in an area where it could recover. And that tells me, whoa, 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 not time to short now. You're right on the support where the big buyers can come back in and just drive those shorts out.
Yeah, and the daily just looks like a giant bull flag for me, and a tight one at that. And we know there's a whole group of traders that are just very interested in these, recent runners that are making these high tight flags because there's just a decent chance they're going to continue, and the risk reward is just nuts, right? The risk reward is huge on something like this, where it wouldn't surprise me to see this up, rip from here and go up another 50%. Wouldn't surprise anyone with the short float that's going on there.
All right, guys, I'll try one here. Oh, good Lord, it would do that move on me. That is such a move on me. That is dirty, man. I just got done dirty, Michael. That's on me. But right when I went to go get in, the market orders, market makers spread it by like 10 cents. Right when I hit the button. Right when I hit the button. That's as dirty as it gets there. Yeah, that was dirty.
Yeah, it's the problem with.
That's the problem of market. That's the problem of market. Normally my market orders fill that quickly that I don't have to worry about that in this account. But hey, that's how it goes. So now I have, instead of 50, I have 458. Completely different. It almost makes my risk almost have to go immediately to 2 times the risk. So to put it in perspective, right? And so really not something that I like. But hey, I'm always transparent with you guys, right? That's a mistake on my end, but something to learn from, right?
Yeah, and just a risk that you got to manage, right? And it's it happened, and now it's about managing what happened in the moment, and then kind of make a note.
It's already, it didn't even trade. It didn't even trade up there. You see, there's not even action up there. Literally, it just spread out and got me in an area. All right, so that's definitely dirty. That just shows you you might want to just stick to the limits right now. So.
Yeah, that might be the move. It's just make sure you're always dealing in limit orders, and that's probably just a good thing in general. To just to remember is that at least with limit orders, if something wonky's happening, you just won't get filled, and you might get mad that you're not getting filled. But it's better to get mad that you're not getting filled than to get mad that you're you got traded at a really, really weird price.
Yeah, that'd be one that I would, if this was a different brokerage, I'd probably be fighting about. Let's just say that much. But we'll let that one go, and we'll just keep moving on, guys. We'll see what happens here. SPY is starting to pull back there. Now you're getting what? Like we talked about, that range style of move here. So I'm wondering if TSLL goes right back into a fade here. I'm going to give it a chance here. It's on 1, 2, 3 times to get above 1880s. Let it try one more time, and then if it fails, I can come back and try to hammer. For OPAD, I'm going to put it a risk down right below it at 45s. It's more than likely going to get me out here. I would almost guarantee it as soon as I put it out there. But it's just too much danger because of where I got in, right? So in this case, I'm going to get out and just put out a stop right underneath it. More than likely get hit here. But that spread widening out, that was real dirty right there. Dirty. All right, guys, going to take a shot here on FLNC here to see if it keeps coming up right for the day, right? So I'm going to take a little bit of a shot here on the swing account. We know how important the swing account is for me. So I'm going to take it here off the 90 MA entry. Really got to be careful that it doesn't get below the 750s today. Needs to hold and start recovering back to 8. But I do have the share size here that if I get that move back up, I'll be golden. Right? I'll be looking for the move. So FLNC, taking a shot there. It pulls right back towards like 53s. 50s could be still a tap on the VWAP, but I'm looking for it to start coming off of this. Hold the 15-minute chart, right? Definitely not wanting it to break the 750 area and go right back to the upside.
Yeah, just going through this dispersion is still going pretty wild here, where we've got the IWM hitting new highs. We have the Qs not quite hitting new lows, but it did break that pre-market low. We can just kind of highlight this here. So that's the big pre-market low. So far, it's looking like an undercut and a rip back through, which seems on brand for today and what's happening. If you were a large institutional trader, would you be committing or over committing to the short side right now? I don't think so. I think that'd be pretty wild to do. So we need to, we need to focus on whether or not we're going to be seeing more of this, just a little undercut and rip over and over again. So that's something I think to pay attention to. Because of what we have when it comes to what we're seeing in the overall market and the news that's coming up, seeing breaks of supports and then rip back through, I think could be super common. So it could be just an interesting little play to make too if you're someone who's just looking to kind of scalp, say the TQQQ or something like that. You could just look at it and say, yeah, we did have that, that undercut, and maybe you pick some up here and you say, I'm going to put my stop the low of the day and do that kind of trade that we've been talking about all morning that we've seen happen on a few names where we undercut support and then go from there.
Yeah, open doesn't seem like the loveliest spread right now to trade. There's TSLL starting to reject again. I'm liking it. I'm looking at it. I just hate to come after trades again like this, but it's still rejecting the important levels, which is the 1880s. We give it one more chance on the 5-minute. It still has an opportunity to get back there, so just giving it a chance to kind of hang out here and then reject. What's up, traders?
Using this open too as a little bit of like a bellwether for today, just because it was so strong early, and seeing even that come back in again, it's crazy when you see the IWM just hanging out here near highs. So,
all right, guys, OPAD tightening up now, and I got to tighten up too. So, just tightening up, making sure that at least if it does turn on me, I'll get out. Look how the spread just goes and comes and tries to get. I got my 446, and quickly, as soon as I put it out there, the spread comes to 446. So it's probably going to hit me, but I'm just trying to limit the damage if it does, right? So if it goes, I'm already in the trade, so I'm going to take the trade, but making sure that I'm not going to just get wiped out on the downside. FLNC still looking decent there now, starting to bounce there, so I'm liking it. I'm also looking at this Tesla trade here, wondering if we're going to start to see another decline come in there. Up one, down one, up two, down two, up three. It's still trying to play within the rule of three here, so it could still go towards like 1875s and make an attempt for the 1880 break. That's what I'm really keeping my eye on. The flush down is back through 1860 on that one. What are you looking at? IWM breakout continue?
Yeah, I'm watching here just because seeing the Qs hitting those new lows and this thing ripping. I'm just watching this prior high right here at 240 on small caps, and then just makes me, take a look at something like TZA. Right? Is that the move? Or TNA? Sorry, the triple leveraged of these guys. I keep forgetting they exist, but something like that I want to keep an eye on, because if we're going to break out here, look at the today's candle here on the IWM versus the Qs that's down on the day and the SPY that's down on the day, some pretty good relative outperformance here in the small caps. So just watching this prior high, and if we can get through that, that could be a super interesting little trade.
Stepping up here in FLNC here, I am seeing some strength in the market there, so I'm going to try it here, guys. Let's see if I can get it here. Now I have 600 shares of FLNC, so definitely within the reach if it starts to go in my direction to win the account. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, nice look there. Again, undercut that. I like the trade, right? Undercut that prior low, hold in through there, and potentially push higher.
Yep. And this is just what I like about FLNC is the spread's always tight. It's like 1 penny. Very rare does it go 2 or 3 pennies. And that's what I want to trade, right? Like you got to be careful with those bigger spreads, guys. That's the number one way that I see beginner traders get wrecked. Spreads that they can't handle. Oh, big breakout in AMAT. I've talked about this pattern, how it just looks so great in these semiconductor equipment stocks. Now, right back up, AMAT.
It's crazy to see that the semiconductor equipment, and then you take that and you put Nvidia up there, which is
Here,
just basing right at lows.
if you want to go for the leader, it's KLAC right now. And so it's a lead and then lags coming behind it, right? KLAC, one of the prettiest looking charts there is out there, guys. It keeps holding the supports, long-term resistance. It just looks pretty.
Yeah, and then you take that and you compare that to the semiconductors, again, down today, kind of leading the charge to the downside. So just, again, rotation in all things seems to be happening here.
BE ripping. That's another reason why I'm thinking FLNC is getting some volume here. And it got the volume it needed. It got about 80,000 shares there to rip off this VWAP. So let's see if it can do it, right? I'm watching it and I'm going to keep it tight. Don't want it to be below those highs now. But all right, guys, I need a moment. I'll be right back.
Sure thing. Yeah, and again, I feel like a broken record, and it's certainly because I am a broken record, and that's fine, because as long as this continues to work, I'm going to continue to hammer on it. Where we talk about this all the time. If we go into the futures chart here and take a look at the Russell 2000, we are always focused here on the red line, and they shorted a little more last week. So as we are ripping up here, they are shorting into that rip up. So they're shorting lower, or the higher this goes, the more they're shorting that. So a little bit of a short into the rip up to these prior highs. As we get close to all-time highs, they're shorting more. And then if we take a look at the NASDAQ, right, they're starting to buy back in. So they waited for all the way up here to start to get a little bit long. After you see this reversion back down, which essentially just means that this trade unwinded a little bit, but now they're just continuing to plow back in. And if, like we saw with Open, there is nothing better than large institutions shorting into a market that is ripping. And that's what we're seeing here in the IWM, right? They're shorting into this thing that's ripping, which is, I think, what is causing this kind of revision, where we're seeing IWV, which is our, if we go here, our Russell 3000. So this is a pretty good, really wide breadth of securities down on the day. We have the Qs down on the day, but holding here these lows just barely. But then we saw this huge rip in RSP in the open, and then this huge rip in IWM. So yeah, there's definitely a change that is happening, where it used to be just one. You wanted to be long large cap tech, and that's all you wanted to be large, and that's or long, and that's all you wanted to care about. And people played that game for so long that in a lot of cases, it looks like what has occurred is that they use that short in IWM to raise money to buy more, which is just crazy to say. Is to they're trying to buy more of the Qs by shorting more IWM, and that just seems ridiculous, right? And I think it's coming to bite them now, and I think it will continue to come bite them. And for me, I'm all here for it. I love nothing better than force trading.
All right, looking good on this FLNC, guys. Feeling it, feeling it. Got to stay in tune, right? Stay in tune, stay in the zone. We talked about it yesterday. When you're in the zone, you're focusing on what's happening versus what you need to happen, right? You're just looking at the price action. So for me, that's FLNC now holding the VWAP and breaking through resistance. We'll keep looking around, guys. Let's get that money today, man.
Open, pull back a bit, just turn and rip right through. Again, 11.
OPAD looks great now, guys, but I'm like taking it off my screen. You guys put OPAD in the trash bin for me, because she's definitely dead to me now, and that fill was just nasty, and it's gonna take off now probably, but I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go. She's dead to me.
Orb, not a orbs. That's what it is.
Tesla trying to break that 1880s. Let's see if it rejects it here, because it could just be the rejection off of that, and it comes right back down.
Yeah, and that wouldn't surprise me. You had the sell off early, and then we bounce, and then you have that bounce, and then we sell down a little bit, and then
And we just sell her off right back up.
as we're getting more, closer and closer and closer to FOMC time. Again, it would not surprise me to see more and more and more choppy action. So, I implore you to not be, that guy who is kind of really, really fighting into FOMC, because it's not the move. There are days, we talk about all the time. The biggest thing that you can kind of focus on in your trading in most things, I always say, is just have the know when to step on the gas and know when to step on the brake. And this is if you've made some good money early, maybe take a little bit of a step back, take a breath, and just say, we have FOMC, we have JPOW, right? It's not the day. Tomorrow, when all that's done, and he's given his little speech, and he's either up rates or he hasn't, or lower rate or he hasn't, and then we have unemployment claims in the morning tomorrow, and a Philly Fed manufacturing index. So we've got two numbers right before an hour before the open. So just looking at those two things make tomorrow be a much more interesting day for potential trades. So don't swing for the fence today. Swing for the fence tomorrow, right? Take your time and say, today is a good day to build new strategies. That's always a good thing to do, to research, to read, to go to the Trade the Pool video on demand channel and watch some videos about how other traders did it, and spend the day kind of making yourself a better trader, as opposed to trying to spend the day to really, really force a market that could be done. Okay, we could just be hanging out now for the rest of the day. Right, so just taking a look at here through the market, we have IWM continuing to base. That's one of the reasons I keep bringing this up here, is because if I was in the mood, and this is where kind of paper trading and things like that can take a look at, when I'm not feeling the best because I'm on 3 hours of sleep, and you can probably tell in my speech patterns, I'm sure, is that you just take the time and like I talked about, you do the productive things. So I'm wondering always what to do on these divergence days. It seems like a day in which you could actually you could take a lot of trades here, right? You could trade with some sort of an edge, just by, let me be short the Qs versus long the IWM.
All right, guys, watching Micro Algo top mover 2 today, guys. That thing is a crazy, crazy move. I don't know if it's going to continue or not, but I just like to bring those up. I know that some people like those smaller names. Another name, SPRC. So I know that we haven't had time to mention those smaller names today, but I'll bring them up, right? So that's another one. That one looks like it's trying to hold 450 and come back. I'd have to look to get that back through 5. Just focusing on FLNC right now, because if I get my attention too much away, that's how easily all of a sudden I get wrecked in it, and then all of a sudden I'm upset. And you got to know where your focus is, right? Because if you lose train of focus and you're not a well, guess what? There's only one person to blame.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's a good day too. I talked about not doing much because it's the environment we are. And, it doesn't mean if you want to know what it feels like to trade around FOMC event, you can switch. Maybe you don't turn everything off entirely. Maybe you switch to a paper trading account. Maybe you, you buy as you can see above our heads here, a $47 eval account. You say, listen, instead of going to McDonald's or Starbucks or whatever, I'm just going to take a little tiny account and a few bucks, and I'm just going to see if there is any edge to be trading when Jay Powell is on stage making his press conference. And there's dumber ways to spend $47. That's for damn sure, right? Cancel your next sport bet and maybe go from there.
Looking good there in FLNC now, guys. It looks like it wants to go higher there from 760s. Looking good, 755, 600 shares. So I got all I need here. Now it just needs to start sending. So we'll look to see if we get that next move up here.
Yeah, IWM is just continuing to base. So what I'm looking for is, because the IWM has been the leader today, I'm looking for this thing to kind of break out, and we're not seeing this. And the more I looked kind of down, so here's the XLU and XHP, which is pharmaceuticals, and IAI, which is brokers. Just more and more we're seeing you had that move off the open across all these indices, and then really nothing since then. So that's why I think, and Pac just pointed out how there's basically open has done so much. If we do open, has been so much action, is because we notice this sometimes when the market is incredibly slow. Wherever the action is, that's where people are going. They're really going towards that action and saying, this is something that I'm going to trade today because I don't expect the market, the cues, right, any of that to give me anywhere to potentially take a shot at. So why not just focus my attention on, the stock du jour, the thing that everybody is speaking about.
Yeah. Looking good there, FLNC now, the 760s at this point, won't let it go red. I'm not going to put out the break even, but I won't let it get red. I'm just going to let it try to work, let it try to break out, because if this breaks out, it could get there towards yesterday's high. Yesterday's high was way away from here, 820s, 830s. Even if it just gets back to 8, we're talking 40 cents, we're golden, right? Don't need to be pushing it now. Set the trade up to get the eval. Now just let the market do the heavy lifting. If it's going to lift it, it's going to be off of this VWAP. So I think at this point, I give myself the shot. Another thing to look at is, like I've mentioned, BE, right? I talked about how that one needs to stay strong. It's pushing. It could pull back a little bit, but I just want that above VWAP, right? So 74 is the spot there, right? So as long as BE can stay above 74s, that could also be a sign to watch this trade continue.
Yeah, and again, I think that's
Q struggling a little bit.
Yeah, the Qs are looking to bleed. The IWM is still
Tesla
holding.
starting to leak there. The Tesla short also looks like a trade there for me I could take now. But I might take it in the day trade. I'm going to probably get off of it for the swing action, because this one's doing so well. Like, opening up another swing does not make sense to me.
Yeah,
I'm going to go for a quick short here at Tesla here. Short 1,000 shares there, 1860.
Yeah, opening a swing into JPOW would be bold, to say the least.
Bold, right? And so the idea is to make the money and run, right?
Yeah.
Like this FLNC run to like 770s, 8, and then I'm just cashing before, of course, the real negativity comes in. There's TSLL starting to get hit a little bit there, up already on the 1,000 shares. Let's see if it starts to really kind of flush here. So really not back through 1870s, just quick flush through is what we're looking for, right back down. At least that's what I'm looking for. Let's go making money. Qs, VIX could be going here. Could it start to bounce also? VIX could bounce. There's 3 wicks there. Recovery of 34 could be that recovery there. One thing to keep in mind, and I think it's important, is that September is still a weak month. We could still go back in and kind of come back, right? So there's nothing to say that the market's just going to continue green here, right?
Yeah.
Remember, today could be that sell the news event where they bring it right back, right? Where the VIX could get spiking. So I'm keeping that also on my radar. Yesterday I played the VIX. It spiked towards the close and stopped. Today it's pulling back on that 34, and we look to see if we spike right around the same area as we spiked yesterday, 34.20s. That's the area that I'd be watching today to see if the VXX recovers and starts to show me strength. You guys know I hate playing the VXX, and I love playing the VXX because it makes me a lot of money when I get it right, but it's also a tough trade to the long side, right? You're going to get wrong plenty of times, and you got to look at the hourly charts, look for the momentum to come in.
Yeah, and that wouldn't surprise me at all, even if it's not even a sell the news event, but it's a let's screw with both sides event. That
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me either. If, say we sell into the event and then we rip after he's done talking and then, end the day exactly where we started today, but just have hurt the most amount of people because this one, this is, purely vibes, but this FOMC event seems to be talked about more and cared about more than most of the other ones that I've seen recently because he's potentially finally doing something here, right? And that something could be a decent little deal.
All right, about the cash in Tesla here, guys. I'm just looking for a little bit more. If it can get through that 1840s, I'll cash here towards 1830s. I don't think it's going to go towards like 18 right now. I think we might still stay in choppy land range here. So got to be smart here and take the money if I can.
Again, all that makes absolutely perfect sense for the environment which we are in, which is a very choppy one to say the least, right? There's really from the open here, and I think the IWM here encapsulates it perfectly. Right, we opened up, we ran off the open, and then ever since 10, and it's 10 my time, it's 11:30, but 9 on to 10:30. There's just been nothing. It's been sideways action here. The Qs, however, right, continue to bleed. So that's, again, being led by NVIDIA, which is hitting new lows here. Looks like it's about to crack these lows pretty hard. But if you look at the RSP, so the equal weighted version of the SP 500, they haven't done anything. So most stocks are doing absolutely nothing today. So the markets are getting pulled in different directions by the few that are actually moving. So NVIDIA being kind of the weakest one that I see out there, just cracking through lows. And so does the Qs. And then the IWM holding up nicely because it's a little bit more moves. So
Stop place right above it.
Someone's here talking about Wolf. Again, I really I missed this move. I wanted to get it around like 9 or 10. Another nice consolidation here as well. So this, it's a great looking little chart. And this WGMI, which is the Coinbase Bitcoin miners ETF. Look at that crazy break of all-time highs here we had last week. And ever since then, we're up like 30%. It's just been a crazy all-time high breakout here in Bitcoin miners. Even though if you look at Bitcoin as a whole, it's down 1% today. It's not really doing much of anything. The Ethereum Bitcoin ratio is doing okay, but still not doing too much as well. So yeah, to see the miners move when there's no Bitcoin action is definitely something you got to pay attention to.
All right, guys, gonna try to go ahead and cash here. Cashed. I'm out.
Yeah, I mentioned Iron is the one that's holding up WGMI, and it's definitely carrying its weight here for sure. Right, as soon as this thing broke 15, it just like doubled pretty much in a straight line, just a little bit of consolidation here. So I don't know, maybe Mara at some point.
There goes Tesla trying a little bit further, but I cashed there, guys. I put a trail stop and it started to tick down and it just ticked back once. It just got me. So I just put it like, just like if you want to go, I'll trail you and then just take the profits. Really trying to trade range. Talked about it in the pre-market, telling myself it immediately when I get to these breakout stages, right? Like, be careful, Mitch. Today's not the day to trade breakouts, breakdowns. Take the cash when it's available. I'm taking the cash and pushing myself forward. Now up 400 or close to 400, 398 on the day. Not bad day on the day trade.
Not a bad day at all. And yeah, Mara's interesting. I watched this one break yesterday, break and close above this anchored view app from this pivot high. You can see how important this $17 area. So that's something that I'm watching here. And last I checked, the short float on this one was still pretty big.
Quantum names come
28%.
all the way back down. This is what we talk about ranges, right? Where it's like a big breakout and it's coming right back down. QUBT. So quantum names right back down, right? So it looks insane, and then now it's all of a sudden right back down, right?
So yeah, I'm watching out there. I'm just looking to see something like Mara. I'm making a list today, I think, is a lot of what I'm doing. The robot has only taken KTOS and nothing else. So up a little bit on that. You can see I just put this line in for around the entry point. Up a little bit. That's it. So just one trade, and it's fine. That's kind of by design, is that if the market's not moving too much, there won't be too much to trade. So I'm totally okay with that, and we're waiting. We're just waiting for something to occur, and it could happen today, or this could be one of those days, which I'm totally fine with, that you just don't do too much because there's just not too much to do. So
downside risk there in FLNC. There's no point in holding on right here. Back through 760s. I'll add those shares right back on. So now going to 200 shares versus 600 shares, just in case we get a wipeout move, right? There's no reason for me to hang out in a trade if I get that wipeout move. So in this point, I was looking for the break of the 760s. It's going back to the support. Get rid of majority of it so that if it cuts down to 748, I'm losing $14 and I only lost $18. So pretty much we'll lose like the 30, close to 30 there. I'm okay with that. That's perfect for this trade, especially with 600 shares, right? So we're talking 5 cents essentially of risk.
that's the way you do it. You get your idea. Your idea's got insane asymmetric risk reward, and then you just sit and wait, see if you end up getting those. So
Name. I'm looking around in the space there today. SoFi kind of gapped higher. That was a tough one yesterday. It was red, and now it's coming right back up through 27. So don't forget that SoFi, man. That's SoFi. That thing's a rocket.
yeah, a lot of real high flyer names out there. Not a lot rigged up to slow them down. If there's nothing that's potentially going to stop.
Back down. Tesla right back up in the range. So really good range trade there on Tesla. It's gonna happen. We're playing smart in the swing. That's how we got to do it today. Got to keep playing smart, guys.
Play smart, play small. Again, I remember back in when I used to trade at a prop firm for a living, Wednesdays around this time, around 10:30, I'd be already, packing up my things and have plans to take a solid nap in the afternoon. Again, there are days to go nuts. This is just not one. This is just not one of those days where you want to spend too much of your mental capital and your physical capital trading those things. And you want to spend your time, and that doesn't mean you just don't do anything, that you just take a nap. It means simply that there's just nothing to do just right there. Right? There's always something to do in your trading that can certainly help.
Shall we trade the range in QUBT? Might just do it here, guys. Trendline approach puts it back to 1730s. So it's about 30 cents and about 10 cents on the risk, right? So that's the way I view it here. Let's try it. Let's try to buy the range and sell the range, right? So we're going to buy here at 1698, and then I'm going to look to sell it at 1730.
Yeah, it's a great way to do it, right? It's a great way to, if the market is going to be range bound, sometimes you just play the range, right? Sometimes you just, okay, if the market's not going to do anything, I'll buy support, sell resistance. If that's the game that we're playing, I'll play that game.
Yeah, I like the way FLNC reacted after I sold it a little bit there, but stayed in the trade, right, with the 200 shares. If anything, worse comes to worse, I just let these 200 shares just ride and ride, right? So I think sometimes we forget how much of a difference 200, 300, 400, 600 shares make. And it can really put a lot of pressure on you if you get too big too fast, right?
Yeah.
That's just the key. Too big too fast, right? It's okay to get big. I think that's important in trading. Like at some point, you got to learn how to take bigger shots, but you can't get too big too fast, right? That's where I feel like a lot of traders just go too big in one spot, and then the trade either wipes them out or some shakiness in the trade cuts them out, right? The choppiness in the trade just gets them out even before the move actually happens.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, you gotta be small enough that you can let it dance a bit, right? Let it,
let it dance,
and
guys.
not. There's a lot of traders out there that never take a full position on any trade off the bat. They always have, they're trading what they think is a third of their position, whatever they're planning on doing, whatever they're planning on trading. They always just have a third of that, and
Yep.
right, that gives them room to, something. If it works out right away, they made less than they wanted to, and that kind of sucks. But it just gives freedom to say, if something goes against me, I can add a little bit to it. Maybe it goes for me, and then it bases for a while. I can add a little bit more, and it's kind of like what we talked about right off the open there about potentially trading around a core position where your core position, say you wanted to trade 1,000 shares of it, so you start with 300, and you say that's kind of my core position is 300 shares. So I can add another 300 shares if it looks like an interesting place to add, and then I want to take that off quickly to pay myself, and I'm trading around that potential position. And again, two things: one is it gives freedom to add to a position without going too crazy, and then it also just gives a nice chill way to say, okay, well, if my initial thought on this thing is I should be trading 1,000 shares of it, and I'm trading 300, there's just a lot of like mental benefit to that, right?
Yeah, so what I have on here, guys, and just to give you guys perspective on a different style of ad, and we always like to teach, right? So we'll take teaching moments today. I think it's a very important day for teaching moments, right? So like here's a different way of putting in an order here on Trader Evolution that you guys can check out. I don't know if you guys do this already, but you guys can, especially beginners, can learn from this, right? So here you guys see, of course, the swing account here, full access, right? You guys see a stop limit order to add here. So stop limit order is, of course, going to activate a trigger on the stop price and put out a limit order after that, right? And so essentially what I'm saying is show me the breakout here, 762, and then put out my limit right on the bid around this bullish engulfing candle so that if you do pull back, I add those 400 shares. If you just continue ripping higher, well, I'll keep the 200, right? And so that's the way I look at it here. Not a bad trade. I don't know why I'm faded a little bit. There you go. Find me,
That's
Cannon.
good. Well, and I always say this is the automation baby steps almost. Is just utilizing alerts and then utilizing more advanced order types.
Yep.
Simple things that people take advantage of, where you can put out your stop loss and your profit target at the same time that your order goes out. That's like just a little,
And you can
little
always
tiny baby
move
step.
you can move the limit after that, right? And
Yep.
you can move the stop after that. Let's say it just gets close and you're just like, well, I'm gonna give it another tick, right? I want to see it actually hit 763. So I just grab it and it ladders me up a little bit, right? So then now it's more, oh yeah, you're breaking out when it hits that, right? So things like that I think are very important. Sometimes you can slightly adjust, right? Like I had it at 761, now I put it to 762 because it's just sitting there, right? And I don't want it to go unless I really feel like it's breaking out, right? That's the idea here.
Yeah.
Here's QUBT. We'll do another trade here. We're keeping it educational. We're showing you the live action. Where else do you guys get this? Let's step up to the plate here. QUBT stepping up to the plate here, you guys. You guys see me doubling up there, right there as I show you guys it. Now looking for this to hold the 1690 breakdown where it just did this little undercut, right? That's the washout look. Now I want it to go and send back to that 1730s and sell it into the rip towards 1730s and 1740s. We'll see if we get QUBT today. There it is. Another trade broken down right there for you guys.
Yeah. It's the
There's the trigger for FLNC, just to mention it. There's the trigger.
the combining this, and it's like we talked about today, might not be the day to do a lot of trading, but it's the day to do a lot of work. And that's why we're talking a lot more on the education side of things, which just says, hey, this is you notice that we're way less, and especially Mitch, way less emotional than maybe in most days, because this is the day to do a lot of what Mitch is doing and pick your spots, take a couple trades, make a couple bucks, move on, try to be a little bit more of a sniper, because when the market's not moving as much, you have to be. You got to be way more precise about what it is that you're trying to do.
Open, man. I see you out there, Talk. You trying to get me back
And
on the open side?
and that's crazy. So talk saying 213 million shares traded today.
Guys, I was seeing
No.
those shorts get squeezed, man. Those tapes, that 110,000 share order at $9 in the pre-market, that was a telling sign, man. And what I really like is that I took a loss out the gates there on open. Like I was willing to let it go and get back in. That's the thing I need to practice more and more of. That's like a habit that needs to be built on, guys, especially in the day trading game. When you get big size, you get out and you get back in, or you down risk, like I did like in FLNC, where you get so low that you can handle a huge range,
Yeah.
right? And that's position trading. That's more of what we've talked about with the position trading, right? Like I want to stay in this name, but I'm going to take down the risk so I can stay in the name, right? So I think it's very important. It's all about timing a lot in day trading. That's why I think it's so much harder than swing trading, because
Yep.
the timing needs to be more exact.
It's 100%. It's the example I always give uh to options people, right? Is that if you're going to trade options, you just need to know you have to be right now on direction and time and volatility, and you're just
Yeah.
putting more equations. One of those things, why I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I think 24-hour trading is going to be great for a lot of traders in the long run, because there won't be such a thing as day trading versus swing trading versus investing. If you have a strategy, so your FLNC, for example, where say you want to buy it and you're going to use a 20 period moving average for a stop, you just set that in some sort of automated fashion and you go about your day, and it doesn't matter if some arbitrary time on the clock ticks by. If it's 4 or 4:01 or whatever it is all just time. And you place a trade. If that thing stays above that 20 period moving average for a week and it just continues to make you money every day, who cares, right? If it stays above it for an hour and then stops you out, again, who cares? It just the longer term out you go in trading, it just removes certain factors. Again, you no longer have a clock that you're fighting. You are just, will this thing trend higher, or will it trend lower? And again, one of my favorite quotes from Brian Lund, who's a really respected trader, guy I've known for a very, very long time. His exit, he's purely discretionary, and his exit rules I always thought are just hilariously interesting. And he goes through his portfolio every night before the close and says, "Is this still in an uptrend for my time frame? If so, I keep it, and if not, I sell it." That's it. That's the whole thought process. So yeah,
Don't need to make it complex, man.
just remove as many variables as possible. And swing trading again removes a big variable, which is time.
All right, guys, we'll see what happens there. That FLNC triggered there at that 762, but no fill right on the pullback limit. I'll let you guys know if I do add. Actually, I'm pulling it back down right now to 750, giving you guys the insight. I'm throwing it on the support, essentially telling it, hey, you want to bring it back to support? I have no problem with it. If you want to come back here, though, realize I'm feeling more. Q's looking really tippy-toppy here, guys. Tesla might be another short again here, as it's just looking like the Qs just don't want to hold, man. The Qs don't hold. VXX could start ripping off that 34. 3-4 undercuts under that 34 tells me to look at it. So I'm going to actually take a shot on that here. Just got to take it, probably the day trade account. I don't want to get too fancy with the swing account, guys. I'm trying to ride that FLNC. And sometimes, like, it's about opportunity costs, right? That's what I'm keeping in my mind. What's the opportunity cost here on the VXX? Yes, it could rip, but I'd rather do that on the day trade and see if it really gets going here. I'm going to go 500 shares there on the VXX to see if it starts to rip here. I'm going to give it really tight towards like 34 or 33.98. So I'm only risking like $40 on it, but I'm just watching the action here. Quick move back down. As soon as I get in there, it tells me watch out, right? So look for the recent low and hold off of that. So 33.94 is max risk here on the VXX. We'll see if it just sends. I'm even going to put it out there because the way the VXX is, if it wants to send, it's going to send. So we'll see what happens here. That's just the Qs breaking down, the SPY breaking down. We'll see if it does it. The SPY could also lift off of here. And so that's why you got to stay really tight. QUBT doing really well. That trade's looking great. So I'm going to stay in that trade. So I have a long and a short and just trying to play within this, right? Just continue adding more. I have 398 on the day. Let's go make some more money.
And the just taking a look here, right? The SPY is holding right at lows and looking like it's trying to dig in here, right? It's been a bit of a slow bleed, nothing crazy, bit of a slow bleed all morning. And then same with the Qs, it's maybe trying to hold in here. And the Q's definitely been, the weak guy, the black sheep today, really holding the market back. And then you look at IWM, and we're breaking through right now. We're breaking out to new highs for the day. So that looks great. We need to stick the landing here. I don't trust, especially today, I don't trust any breakout or any breakdown or anything like that. It's just not the thing that I'm trusting today, just because it's not like everything we talked about for what's coming up with JPOW in a couple hours. But we're trying to break out in the IWM, so it should certainly help out those long positions.
All right, looking good in this QUBT now, guys. Up about 45 on it. Looking for the breakout above this 1710s. It's back to VWAP. Now it needs to start shooting. So we'll see what happens there. VIX might cut me out there. You can see it's trying to come back here off the 34s, but I'm going to give it that 34s down to the recent low, and that's what I need to do. I need to give it slightly below the range here, slightly below the range, and look to see if it goes, right? Because there's so many wicks there, right? That could be buying pressure on those wicks between 34 and 33.80s, right? So we'll see what happens.
And a little bit of an increase in volatility, because again, it's important to remind people what the VIX represents. It's just how many people buying puts on the S&P
Right before
500.
JPOW, it makes
Right?
sense, right?
So that's if there is a time that you're gonna put a little bit of insurance policy in, you're gonna lean into that just a bit right before this big FOMC announcement. Could be a good time to do it. And again, we don't really care unless it's not a 25 point basis per, everybody in the world has kind of agreed and is positioned that it will be a 25-point cut. So if it's that, then it's one of those things that is expected. That's what we're looking to see. If it's not, then there'll be a huge reaction. But again, I think there's a less than 1% chance that something like that occurs. Again, what we're looking for is what happens when he comes out on stage, and what does he talk about there, and what is it that the trade that actually kind of takes place when he's done. It's like I always say, wait for him to exit, wait for him to leave the stage, and then start to take your bets.
All right, there we go. FLNC now 763 is giving me the opportunity. There was a big ad of 12,000 shares. It seems like 760. So I'm going to actually start stepping up to the plate on a pullback towards like 758. I'll add orders out for ads on pullbacks that would still keep me in the green. And if it just keeps running, I won't be mad. Just let it run, right? Like you can't get mad sometimes that you didn't get as big as you wanted. That's another recipe for disaster because you start chasing the size and you ruin your average, right? That's not the idea either. And set up here on the day trade. I really like the way that they're working right now. I have a VIX position just in case the market just kind of craps out. RCAT alert is setting off for RCAT. RCAT was a trade of the day for me yesterday, recovering now and doing the trade that we like, Michael. Undercut and rally right through that 1040s, went down to the 1020s. It makes it look like it's going to break 10 today, and now it's already almost back to 11. Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like 11 would be 7 or 8% higher. So it's all about risk to return. This went down about 2.3% out the gates. Even if you had the gates, right, out the gates, you get this back towards 11, that's a 6% move higher. 3-to-1 outlook. We can't be getting mad for 3-1 outlooks.
Don't have to be right very frequently. That's right. It's our version of something like a pot odds. Is what is the what's the math behind? We don't really know our probability for success. So I think always assuming a 50-50 is good. And then if you say, okay, well, if I can make 3-to-1 on a 50-50 bet, that's nuts. That's over time and an absolute amazing strategy that, and just think about it in the terms of a coin flip. If we played a game where we flipped a coin, it hit heads, I gave you $3, and then it hit tails, you gave me $1, you would play that game all day long, right? That's a huge positive EV or expected value game. So yeah, you always got to say, okay, what's the, not that you know where it's going to go, but where does it make sense that it could go? And then, if that is 3 times longer than a logical stop, then away you go. It looks like TAC has already bowed out a few minutes early. I certainly do not blame him in any way, shape, or form because of what we're seeing, right? Let's go in here, just take a look again at the SPY. We're sold off early and then just chop fast throughout. And even like I talked about, the IWM looked like we were breaking out there and then failed home as well, right?
Yeah, looking around out here, guys. Set up in Archer above 9. So 9 recovery today. Undercut, trying to recover 9. Get back up there back towards 950. Yesterday was up there. So I'm pulling charts like that. I like charts like that look like this on the 15 minutes of yesterday. So I'll show you guys that exactly. And if you're seeing this type of pattern, I'd be kind of keeping an eye on these names, right? Where I had a really strong day yesterday, slightly undercut today's morning, and now starting to hold VWAP, right? Those are the names that I really want to look at. RCAT falls in that, right? QUBT falls in that, right? So decent action towards the upside, recovering VWAP is what we're looking for. FLNC, decent action yesterday, recovering VWAP. You see how the plays are similar here, right? This is what I'd be looking for right now. Stocks that were hot yesterday that are pulling back now and have recovered VWAP. IonQ, recovering VWAP. Rigetti, recovering VWAP. Stocks that were strong, pulled back, now starting to recover VWAP. Those are the type of plays that I think make sense right now. All right, guys, I want to
Yeah.
step up to the plate here in FLNC on pullbacks. I'm throwing it on the throwback look and just staying out there, right? So that's going to do it for FLNC. We'll see what happens on that. I'm staying in the trade. I'm in green. You guys can see it on the screen here. So essentially, what am I looking at? Well, it's a trend line approach, right? If you broke above this trend line, can you give me a throwback look? The trend line is like right here, right? So if it comes back into this spot here or the Bollinger Bands on the pullback, that'd be kind of the throwback ad.
Well, and the IWM is turning. It's just hitting new highs today, so that's going to help a lot of these.
Fix down.
Yeah, more speculative. The VIX is going to suffer, but a lot of more of these speculative plays that you're looking at, we broke out on the IWM, then we pulled back pretty sharply, and now it looks like we're turning and breaking back out. So, you've got that. That's the tailwind of these potential plays for a lot of the stuff that you're looking at here. My
Oh, yeah.
KTOS is not moved really, so I'll take it.
Open back at 10. We'll see if it gets some life again here. But I took a trade that was different. I liked RCAT, but of course that's already gone for me. Look at that takeoff. So what do? Relationship play. I trade UMAC that I talked about earlier in this week. Earlier, talked about it last week off of the 11s. It broke the 11s. Now has been holding it on pullback. Let's see if we send away from the 11s on UMAC. There you go, guys. Having a hell of a day there on the day trade account, guys. So one of the things is gas pedal, right? Gas pedal when you need it. Today's that day, right? Almost filling the trade here on QUBT. Talked about how I'm trading the range, right? Not going to trade the breakout, but doing really well in this trade. Looking for what, 8 more cents here and selling it. We'll see if we get that break right now. So up another 100 on this name. Did take
Nice.
a loss there on the VIX there, 67. But moving in the right direction, man. And this is how it is sometimes. When you're seeing the trades work, try to make sure that you're focused still in the zone, but gas pedal when you need it. Gas pedal is sometimes going to also be determinant on the trades that you're trading, right? The trades that I'm trading right now are all kind of working in, so I'm just staying with it until the hot hand ends.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff that you're doing is buying on pullbacks and dips and things like that, and that's just going to work so good in this market that the average stock, not the large cap, but the average stock is selling a bit and then ripping through highs. And now that the IWM's got through high, it's cooling off and selling down a bit.
Looking good here in QUBT to sell it into the rip. Let's see if it rips here towards the 1730s. That's where I want to sell it. The trend line approaches like 1737. It could also reload here at VWAP, but I'm below VWAP, so I'm like not even stressing here. I'm just giving it the chance to get to that target. Now I want to see UMAC take off, guys. I want to see a quick move in UMAC. That's why I'm long it.
Bot has taken another short in a AMPX, or sorry, it's first short of the day. No idea what this one does, but again, this is just a simple mean reversion type play. In the last 2 days, it's up 22%. These are not the stuff that I put in it. This is fully just kind of systematic, and it's about a 53% chance that it's lower than this price by the close.
I agree, Talk. I got a little too excited on the VXX, but I might trade it later in the day, like I did yesterday, right? I like to take really small opportunities on the VIX and wait for that big run, because there's times where I get like a $2 run, and I mean, those pay out all those 30 or 40% losses, right? So we'll see what happens there later in the day with the VXX.
Yeah, so just quick wrap up before we head here, and basically just looking here at the SPY, and this is kind of the story of the day, right? You had that big move off the open, and then we've just been inside this range here all day, and then the same thing with the IWM, grinding higher, right? Up 1% with the Qs down 0.5%. So if you want any example of the fact that this unwind was bound to happen, just look at the positioning data, but it's a grind, right? So, we're pulling back and then breaking new highs and then pulling back again and breaking new highs. So we're moving It's just been, a slow move over time. So, just know that. Just know that it's not. If you're looking at the average stock up 1% and you're not doing too well, again, it has not been easy because it hasn't been kind of a straight move that you could play. It's been the slow grind higher.
UMAX starting to push there. Now up $60 on that one. So looking good, guys. So like now it's kind of like just stay with the trends. Make sure that they're holding 9 EMAs, right? Like we just broke on UMAC away from the 9. So I'll watch for it to hold the 9 on pullbacks. And that's what I'm going to be doing on the day. I've been using a lot of the 9 EMA approaches, right? Like making sure that I'm not buying too far away from short-term moving averages so that it can ride short-term trends. That's going to do it for me, like always. And Michael, you guys can keep up with us all the time on Twitter. If you guys aren't following us already, you're missing out, guys. We always give some great insights there. That's going to do it for today, guys. Smash the like, and we'll see you guys back right here on